Hello and welcome back to the Financial Freedom Show with Chase Lawson. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you're just finding the show, my name is Chase Lawson. I am passionate about personal finance, and in fact, I wrote a book on the subject, which you can pick up on Amazon, titled Financial Freedom: Breaking the Chains to Independence and Creating Massive Wealth. I fully believe personal finance doesn't have to be complicated, and each week with this show, I break down a different topic with the goal of making it simple for all listening. Before we get started, if you haven't yet done so, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future content. And if you like what you hear, please let me know by liking this or leaving a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Now let's get started with another great topic, which for today's show is that of home improvement projects and which have the best return on your investment. One of the great things about home ownership is that you can take on home improvement projects, whether it's remodeling your bathroom, putting in landscaping, adding an addition, or whatever you may desire. These can be great as they can help you get more enjoyment out of your home, as well as potentially increase the value of your home. My wife and I recently stained part of our fence, and that got me to thinking, what types of home improvement projects are worth it and what probably aren't when it comes to increasing the value of your home. But before we dive into that, there are a few general rules of thumb when it comes to this topic. For one, this can vary pretty substantially depending on where you live. For example, adding a pool may be worth more in the South, where temperatures can get pretty high and having a pool may be the norm, as compared to the North, where you may only get to use it a few months out of the year. In addition, cost of labor and materials can be drastically different in different regions, so it may cost more to take on a particular project where you live. Another important rule of thumb to consider or ask is, will potential buyers be as excited about this as you are? It's important to consider the future demand your home may carry. The way I like to think about this is if you've ever watched some of those shows on HGTV with the multi-million-dollar mansions, those can be nice and maybe your dream home, but how many people can afford to buy a 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 million home? The more expensive a home, the less potential buyers you may have and the longer it will sit on the market for, which may drive its price down. When it comes to home improvements, the same thinking can be applied. Put yourself in the shoes of a potential buyer and think about what might be important for them. Think about the other homes in your neighborhood, because those are essentially what you're competing with. If the other homes in your neighborhood have traditional kitchens, buyers may not see value in adding something like granite countertops and a pizza oven. Be careful about over-improving too much for your neighborhood. Or I'm sure you've probably seen homes with some interesting choices when it comes to the paint on the wall. You may like bright neon colors, but will prospective home buyers? But perhaps most importantly, the third rule of thumb to consider is, do you even plan to resell your home? Things can obviously change, but if you plan to stay in your home for 10, 20, 30 years, then maybe you don't need to worry as much about the potential ROI or return on investment for these projects. After all, you do live in the home, and it's important to consider if it'd be a worthwhile project for yourself and your own personal enjoyment. If you don't plan to sell anytime soon, then take on these projects that you can afford that will bring you the most satisfaction and best use out of your home for yourself. As with all other things personal finance, this is 100% personal. With those rules of thumb behind us, what are the best home improvement projects you can take on when it comes to maximizing your ROI? To answer this question, I took a look at Remodeling Magazine, which annually releases a cost versus value report looking at 101 US markets and compares the average cost of 22 remodeling projects to see which retains its value at resale based on a survey of 3,000 real estate agents and firms. Once again, this will vary by region, but for the purpose of this episode, I will use their national averages. One important thing to note is that most of their top projects are outdoor projects. Do keep that in mind, as curb appeal does play a huge factor in selling a home. After all, it's what people see when they drive by. So here we have the best and worst projects according to Remodeling Magazine. First off, the top 10 best projects. 1. Manufactured stone veneer. Replacing the bottom third of the front of your home as well as the entry archway can do wonders when it comes to driving up the value of your home. This typically costs around $9,357 and adds $8,943 to your home's value, meaning you would recoup 95.6% of your costs. Number 2, garage door replacement. Installing a new garage door with a lifetime warranty on heavy-duty galvanized steel tracks and windows in the top panel add greatly to your home's value. This project costs an average of $3,695, but leads to an increase in resale value of $3,491 or 94.5% of the cost. 3, minor kitchen remodel. Keyword on minor. This includes replacing cabinet fronts with shaker-style wood panels and drawer fronts, putting in new cabinet and drawer hardware, replacing appliances with new energy-efficient models, replacing laminate countertops, installing a mid-price sink and faucet, adding new resilient flooring, and a fresh coat of paint on the walls, trim, and ceiling. This will cost around $23,452, of which $18,206 will be recovered at resale, or 77.6%. 4, siding replacement with fiber cement siding. Adding fiber cement siding to your home with a continuous water resistive barrier will cost roughly $17,008 and will add $13,195 to your home's resale value, or 77.6%. 5, siding replacement with vinyl siding. While not as good as fiber cement siding, installing new vinyl siding with a continuous water resistive barrier will cost an average of $14,359 and add $10,731 to your home's value, or 74.7%. 6, vinyl window replacement. Replace your current windows with insulated, low emittance, simulated divided light vinyl windows. This will cost around $17,641, but will add $12,761 to your home's value, or 72.3% of the cost. 7, wood deck addition. This will lead to about 72.1% of your cost being recovered and will give you a great outdoor space to enjoy and entertain on. 8, wood window replacement. This project costs slightly more than a vinyl window replacement would and only recovers about 68.9% of its costs. Number 9 on the list is a steel entry door. This is the cheapest project on the list at only $1,881, of which $1,294 will be recovered, or 68.8%. And then finally, number 10, composite deck addition. This will lead to less upkeep than a wood deck, so it might be more worthwhile to consider, though the initial cost is higher. This costs about $5,500 more than a wood deck would, but leads to almost $3,000 more in home value than that of a wood deck, but with the higher costs means only 66.8% of the cost would be recouped. So those are the 10 best projects according to Remodeling Magazine. But what are the worst? Well, the worst project is an upscale master suite addition. This is the most expensive project on their list at a whopping cost of $282,062, of which only slightly over half will be recovered at $145,486, or 51.6%. The second worst project is a fiberglass grand entrance. This project would only recover 53.3% of its cost. The third worst project is an upscale major kitchen remodel. Once again, the key is to keep your projects on the minor side so as to not overpay, as any major project may not be as attractive to a potential homebuyer. And with an average cost of $135,547, an upscale major kitchen remodel isn't cheap, of which only 53.9% of costs are to be expected to be recovered. The fourth worst project is a mid-range bathroom addition. This will recover about 54% of its costs. Number 5, upscale bathroom addition. This will recover about 54.7% of its costs. The sixth worst project is an upscale bath remodel. There's a big difference between remodeling an existing room and adding a whole new room. Typically, a remodel will be a better investment than an addition. For an upscale bath remodel, 56.6% of its costs can be expected to be recovered. 7 is mid-range Master Suite Edition at only 58.5%. The 8th worst project is a mid-range major kitchen remodel with 58.6% of its costs expected to be recovered. Number 9 is a metal roofing replacement, of which 61.2% of its costs are expected to be recovered. Number 10 is a bath remodel with universal design so that it is wheelchair accessible. This project typically recovers about 62% of its costs. The other 2 projects on their list that are in the middle of the pack are an asphalt roofing replacement and a mid-range bath remodel. There were some projects not included on Remodeling Magazine's list that could be worthwhile to consider. For example, landscaping is a big one. According to estimates I was able to find, landscaping will actually return about 100% of its cost at resale. Landscaping helps add to the curb appeal and doesn't have to cost a whole lot, but every dollar you do spend on it can be expected to be recovered typically. In addition, minor updates, whether it's staging furniture or new lighting, flooring, or paint, could lead to anywhere from a 40 to a 66% return. Of course, these are all averages and just a guide to help you consider whether or not to take on a project. Why else might someone consider a home improvement project? One reason is if you ever look to refinance your mortgage. By taking on a project, which could in turn increase the value of your home, you will then build more equity in the home, which could help you remove PMI quicker if you are unable to put 20% down initially on the home. Typically, you cannot remove PMI in the first 2 years of a mortgage unless you improve the value of the home. Depending on your credit score, how much you put down, and the value of the home, this could potentially save you hundreds of dollars per month. In addition, Josh Hastings discussed how he and his wife leveraged a HELOC to help pay off their student loans in the episode he was on. And while you should educate yourself on a HELOC before utilizing one, the more equity you have in your home, the more you could potentially get in a HELOC, which may be important to you now or down the road. So these home improvement projects could have major implications in your life, both financially and emotionally. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to today's episode. Obviously, we went through a lot, but hopefully it has you better understanding some of the things to consider when it comes to potential home improvement projects. Do what's going to bring you the most enjoyment in your home, but just understand the future implications of some of these decisions when it comes time to resell your home. If you still have questions, be sure to let me know, and please go ahead and like this episode or leave a review so that I know you got value out of it and so that others can find this. And finally, please be sure to subscribe so that you're among the first to get updated when any new episodes get released. I wish you all a very happy and healthy holiday season. Thanks so much, and until next time, stay safe and go get 'em.